skipping. How come this guy has a window also? He's a nicer computer than me, too. Because I have 2 screens. Oh, he's the second screen there. Does he control the server from this place? Hey.
Coming to a staircase, Stanley walked upstairs to his boss's office.
Is there a... There is a door down here. Which will... I want to go down.
But Stanley just couldn't do it. He considered the possibility of facing his boss, of admitting that he had left his post during work hours. He might be fired for that. And in such a competitive economy, was it really worth taking that risk? All because he believed everyone had disappeared? His boss would think he was crazy.
Probably.
And then something occurred to Stanley. Maybe, he thought to himself, maybe I am crazy.
No.
Everyone I know simply vanishing out of the blue, there's almost no other explanation for it.
Yes there is.
And a nagging fear began to creep up in his mind. Questions that had been there all along. He just hadn't put his finger on them yet. For example, why couldn't he see his feet when he looked down?
That's a good
Why
question,
did doors
actually.
close automatically behind him wherever he went?
Because you're doing it?
And for that matter, these rooms were starting to look pretty familiar.
No, they aren't.
Was he just walking around in circles? Where am I, he thought. And the more he found himself unable to answer these questions, the more questions continued to arise, until he came to the issue that had been slowly boiling until he could ignore it no longer. Why is there a voice in my head, dictating everything that I'm doing and thinking?
See, that's what I was thinking.
Suddenly, every door slammed shut. No! Hey. Stanley screamed. I need to get out of here. I need to know that there's something out there. I need to know it's not just all in my head. And he screamed and clutched at his skull as the voice grew harsher and the music in the background rose higher and higher. And then, moments before collapsing to the ground, Stanley clenched his fists and screamed to anyone who might be listening, I'm not real! I'm not real! Don't believe any of it! None of it's real!
Yeah,
and then everything went black. This is the story of a woman named Mariella.
Wait, what?
Mariella woke up on a day like any other. She got dressed, went to work, clocked in, clocked out, and then she walked home. But her walk on this day was interrupted by the body of a man who had stumbled through town talking and screaming to himself, and then collapsed dead on the sidewalk. Moments after seeing him, she would turn, run to the nearest police station, and call for an ambulance. But for just a few brief seconds, she merely stood there, unable to move. The tragedy was not the death of a single person. It was that she would never know this man's story, never hear in his own words what had happened to him, or what he believed had happened to him. For to know these things would be to exist inside the head of the man himself. So all she could do was observe from a distance and pity him. But Mariella had places to be and people to meet with, very important people, whose impressions of her would affect her career and indeed the rest of her life.
I was a person!
She stood there for only a moment, looking down at the body, and then she ran.
She's a jerk! I'm a person. More important people. Jeez. At least this had a more interesting story. Let's try one more time. Doing exactly what he says. Skip. I don't want to listen to
this. This is the story.
No. Curse, you're talking.
Stanley decided to go to the staff lounge.
I want to speak now. It's my video, my commentary.
He never functioned well by himself.
Yes, I did.
And constantly needed support and guidance from others.
Not true, I'm talking to myself in the bedroom.
Total solitude was terrifying to him.
Sorry for the interruption. For a horrifying second, I thought I wasn't. Actually, I had my mic off, so...
When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, he entered the door on his left.
Okay, come on, narrator. Spit it along. I want to see what happens at the end.
As Stanley entered the lounge,
he
was horrified to find not a single person here. he decided he would walk up to see his boss,
Yep.
hoping that he would find an answer there.
Okay, at least it was pretty quick. Now, wait a minute. Oh, jeez, dang it, I really need to get a different mic.
Coming to a staircase, Stanley walked upstairs to his boss's office.
Or I could go downstairs, but no, I already did that. Is there higher? Nope. Apparently there's only 3 floors to this building. Hey, wait a minute.
Entering his manager's office, Stanley was once again stunned to discover not an indication of any human life.
Cool glow.
It was at this point that he began to feel dizzy and a little sick, and even thought he might pass out when suddenly he noticed a keypad next to the filing cabinet in the corner of his boss's office. Stanley had never seen this panel before and had no idea what combination of numbers would produce any result. In fact, only Stanley's boss knew this, since the panel withheld access to the boss's greatest, darkest secret, and so he had assigned the keypad a combination that only he could possibly know, the number of his freshman dorm number in college, 1957. But of course, Stanley couldn't possibly have known this.
Thanks, dude.
Yet incredibly, by simply pushing random buttons on the keypad, Stanley happened to input the correct code by sheer luck.
Go luck!
Amazing. Stanley ventured forth into the newly opened passageway.
Okay, so we'll
As he
continue on
moved
the
deeper
story.
into the bowels of the building, Stanley had no idea where he was or what this place held. And just as he began to think he might not discover a thing, he emerged into a long room to find rows and rows of monitors.
Hey, wait a minute, where's mine?
Screens with a number above it. Stanley noticed, however, that these were not random numbers, but the number of employees who worked in the building,
was that
his
427?
co-workers.
Yeah,
Even his own number,
yeah, there it is.
427, had a place on the wall. But why a setup so elaborate, he asked. Was this simple surveillance, or something even more? And as if in answer to his question, the wall slid open before him, revealing the ultimate truth of the situation.
Ultimate truth? What ultimate truth? That was pretty cool.
An enormous control panel, Stanley discovered, but not one that controlled simple machinery. Buttons were labeled with emotions. Happy, sad. Levers and knobs controlled actions. Walking, eating, doing work, or watching TV.
Is there a ladder?
Every input on this device monitored not the functions of a machine,
it's a red button.
but of a human being. And the reality began to sink in. Stanley, like so many other people, reduced to images on a monitor, had been under someone's control, always at the mercy of this machine. Could this have been the only reason employee number 427 was content with his boring job? That a machine had altered his emotions to accept it blindly? He began to feel an unbridled rage, and at the peak of his anger, something happened. A spark. Stanley looked up and saw the generator overhead, still providing some small amount of power to the machine, keeping it alive. And knowing that this generator was all that kept the controls running, Stanley moved to the ladder in the back of the room and began to climb towards the rafters.
I'm pressing these buttons first, though. Button. And are these lights shutting off, or are they staying on? Wait, where's the other one? Button. Wait, oh, they shut off. That was useless, actually. So I'm going to climb up the ladders. Ooh, what's that? Choice maybe?
The higher Stanley climbed, the closer he felt to freedom, the further from enslavement.
Well, that's not gonna happen anytime soon. So what happened? Am I, like... Ooh, what's it say? I can't read it from here. Ooh, hey, a door. What's this? Wait a minute. Now, here's my thought. Am I a robot in in that case, or droid in this case, would it be, or android? I think it would be android. No, because android has free will. Droid, would I be a droid? And if I just, like, turn this off, will I regain my freedom, or is that thing keeping me alive? Or am I, like, really being mind controlled? Or, green or red, green or red, green or red. I like green. Green's my favorite color.
Oh, Stanley.
Ah, shoot.
You didn't just activate the controls, did you?
Oh, shoot.
After it kept you enslaved all these years, you go and you try to take control of the machine for yourself? Is that what you wanted?
Wait.
Control? Stanley. Stanley. I applaud your effort, I really do. But you need to understand, there's only so much that machine can do. You were meant to let it go, turn the controls off and leave. If you want to throw my story off track, you're going to have to do better than that.
Uh-oh.
I'm afraid you don't have nearly the power you think you have. For example, and I believe you'll find this pertinent, Stanley suddenly realized that he had just initiated the network's emergency detonation system.
No.
In the event that this machine is activated without proper DNA identification, nuclear detonators are set to explode, eliminating the entire complex. How long until detonation then? Oh, let's make it say, 2 minutes. Now, this is making things a little more fun, isn't it, Stanley?
Buttons.
Go ahead. Play with those controls all you like. The real controls are where I'm sitting. Did you really ever believe you held any power? Did you not think I knew what I was doing? When I erased your co-workers and turned off the machine,
Come on, let me off.
I was offering you